Welcome everyone. This video is for people who support others in digging deep into their core values. So to dig deep into their core of motivation and to help them to align with that core. So it's, for example, for coaches, psychotherapists, teachers, and university professors, but also people who do similar things. The value you will get out of this video is an understanding of what to expect from the Core Values Finder report so that you can communicate it to your target group, but also a step-by-step explanation what you will get in the Core Values Finder report and how to dig deeper into each of the sections with your target group in the most meaningful way. So the overall report of the Core Values Finder entails 32 pages. On the first page, you basically just see the name. It's for Eric. It's a name that the person puts into the assessment. And then you have the table of contents, which explains each of the sections. And with 32 pages, it's quite extensive, but it's very much on the point for each of the sections. And I, with my explanations, will also focus on the essentials today. So in the first area, you will get an explanation of what personal values are and what core values are, what's the difference. I'm not going to explain the details here in the video, so you can just read through it also here from the video. Then the next section explains the scientific base that is behind the Core Values Finder report. And to keep it short and on the spot there, it's based on the most reliable and most validated assessment of core values that is out there in the world. We had a collaboration with Professor Shalom Schwartz, who researched the topic of core values and personal values globally. And he did that among more than 80 countries with more than 100,000 individuals. Then we also explain what the benefits of knowing your values are. And here in the report, we really touch on the basic that it's good for happiness and well-being. But if you go here down on the Find Your Values research section, you can just click on it. You will get much more research. What you then see is the core of the report. It's the values continuum that is based on the questionnaire of Shalom Schwartz. And each of the values you can see here, it's 20 values, is represented by one sun straw. And each of the sun straw is expressed through a different color. And the further a color goes to the outside of the circle, the more important this value is for that person. And to show also relative importance, so how important is it overall compared to all the other values, you can see also here the personal average. If you take a look at the gray layered circles border, this represents the average of that person. So for example, with this person here, if we look into benevolence values, which focus on caring for family and friends, so your inner heart and being dependable there, you can see that these values seem to be quite important for that person. On the other hand, security values seem to be less important for that person. And I want to quickly explain the different value categories here, not going too much into depth, but what you see here on the upper left side are the so-called self-transcendence values, where you start focusing on things and people beyond yourself. So the benevolence values focus on people in your internal heart, so your family and friends. Universalism values focus on the importance of nature, the importance of caring for people that you don't know, the importance of tolerating people that are different than you. If we then go further to the right side, we go more to the area of openness to change values, starting with self-direction, where in this case, you can also see it's important for that people to independently think, to decide what to do. So being self-directed in their thoughts and actions. For that person, it seems quite average when it comes to stimulation. So setting themselves ambitious goals, challenging themselves regularly. And that's the same for physical and psychological health. We look at hedonism, which is pleasure and sensuous gratification, also being in the present moment, enjoying the moment. That's something that seems to be less important for that person. And on the bottom side of the self-enhancement values, we also see achievement and power values. And this shows that it's very important for that people to achieve in life and less important to express power through dominance or having a lot of resources. And then we go more to the self-protection and self-conservation values, which start here with the value of keeping face, maintaining one's public image, and avoiding humiliation. And also in line with that overall concept of self-conservation values and self-protection values are the values of personal security and societal security, tradition, conformity towards rules, and interpersonal conformity, where you can see that this person has lower values, so lower importance on these areas. And then the transition again to the self-transcendence values through humility, where you start really to say, okay, I'm thankful for the things that I'm having, and I'm also seeing that there's more than just myself on that planet. If we go further, in the next section, you can see a detailed explanation of the top 3 of that person. And these top 3, you can also see visually in here. If you look here, benevolence, caring, self-direction of thought, and self-direction of action seem to be highly important, but also benevolence, dependability. And based on the results, you can also see here that benevolence dependability is slightly more important than self-direction thought, and that's why it's in the top 3. So you have these 3, and you will have a general explanation of what it means for that person to be high in that value, but with very specific explanations for that specific person. And then at the end of each of the sections here, so here, here, and here, you also have call to actions. And these call to actions are science-based. So if a value is specifically high or specifically low, there's often a downside or an upside of that. And in that case here, for caring, you can see, based on the research, that we give the recommendation that this person should also recognize that excessive focus on others can lead to emotional exhaustion, and that it should remember to prioritize mindful self-care as well, which is crucial for maintaining a healthy balance. And I want to emphasize again that these call to actions are based on a lot of scientific studies that have created correlations between the specific values shown here and positive or negative effects for personal health or well-being. And the explanation how to read the results, like the profile, but also the top 3, you also find here on a very basic level in the how to read your results section. And then what is very interesting is also this section to understand this fully. And in addition to what has been written here, I want to give a bit more of explanations. Research has shown that there are values, which are the green ones here, that if you are higher up there in relation to the lower part, you are more likely to experience higher levels of well-being and health. And there's different interpretations for that. And the main interpretations, if I summarize them, are that you as a person can be rather driven by anxiety and more external factors, or rather driven by growth and internal factors. And we are often in between as humans, but there can be a tendency to be more driven by anxiety or more by growth. And if you're more on the upside, it has been shown to rather being related to growth, well-being, and health, and the lower side to also negative conditions like anxiety, depression. But you have to be careful because the results, they always have to be interpreted in the individual context. So this can be just a first hint to something that you maybe find out together with your client. And in the next sections called Your Insights and Action Steps, you will then have for each of the values, again, how high is the score or high low. And this is also the representation here from the values profile. So it's the same score that you will see here for nature, but it has these very individual explanations of what it means. And the call to action is also separated from the main text. So you will also see a specific call to action for each of the values where we can give a science-based call to action. And we have to be also humble here. In some cases, we cannot give, based on the results, a recommendation to change something, to integrate something more, to do something different. So that's why we also have sections like here for nature, where we say, based on these results, we cannot give any additional recommendation to what we write here to change something. But when we scroll through the report, you will see there are also other cases, and I just want to show another value, universalism concern, which is very high in that case. And here we give the recommendation, if you then take a look here, to maintain the strong value of universalistic concern as it aligns with the innate need for belongingness. And this is a very interesting part. If we look at us as humans, based on science, we have 3 higher psychological needs, which are autonomy, belongingness, and competence from self-determination theory, one of the most researched motivational theories currently out there. And this is highly connected to our intrinsic need of belongingness. So that's why it's a value that you can appreciate, integrate. However, to stay energized and prevent burnout, practice mindful self-care is something that we recommend. And to balance this global view beyond your inner heart with a focus on personal connections that can bring a greater balance and deepen your sense of purpose and life satisfaction. And again, emphasizing that these recommendations are based on a big body of scientific studies for the different values. And you will find an explanation like that with this insights section and then the call to action and specific labeling, whether your score is high, medium, or low. For each of the values here in that insights and action steps section. And then you come to the next section, which goes from the area of your core values and creating clarity for your core values on the more operational level, where you can help your target group to understand now your specific goals. Are they matching your core values? Your behavior, are they matching your core values? Because it's a difference between having clarity just about your core values or to bring those really into action. And what you can see here in the next section is exactly that. And in the beginning, we even asked them, based on your personal feeling, how clear are you really about your core values? And if there is good clarity about that, then the upper section that I've just shown, maybe not the most important part of the values finder report, but it's then maybe more that area where it's about to understand the different goals that the person currently has in life, and then to understand whether those are in alignment with their true core values on the first place, but also, are you making good progress towards them? And this is the section where you can really find out, are the core values of your target group brought into action, yes or no? And you will see here 3 goals, and these goals were put in by the individuals when they took the assessment. So it's the very specific goals that they decided to put in and that they are having currently. And then you will see a result based on scientific questions that we put into, to which degree is the goal based on the core values that we saw there. And if you see here a full bar, it means there is a connection, a strong connection to the values, the core values. But if it's low, like in this case for be very successful, then you can go with your client and really help them understand, is that really a goal that is connected to your core values? And in the case of be very successful, it could be, for example, finding out what do you mean with successful, and then understand why is it not connected to your core values. And then the next step is to take a look at that last part here. How much progress are you making towards achieving this goal? Because if a goal is connected to your core values, maybe it's still the case that you're not working on that goal and that you're not achieving anything in that regard. So if you see it, for example, here, that you have here, let's say, a medium filled bar, then it means there's an intention behavior gap. So there's a goal that is valued, but it's not really achieved. And we also measure two mediators. How natural and easy does it feel to pursue that goal? And here in that case, I would say it also looks like quite easy and natural. But how hard are you really working to achieve that goal? And here I would say in that area, you could then dig deeper and understand why are you not really working hard to achieve that goal? If it feels natural, if it feels easy, if it's connected to your values. So if everything here is high, I would like to understand what is going on in that area. And here you can dig deeper. If we take the example here you can see the goal is not really valued. So it's not really connected to the core values. And on the other hand, it seems that it feels quite easy and natural for that person, and that this person is also working very hard to achieve it, but it's not achieving it. So in that case, I would go and dig deeper and try to really understand why is there this gap, and then in the beginning part, really dig deep to understand why do you feel that this is not connected to your core values. Maybe the definition of success is something that has to be reconfigured together. And then if you look at goal 3, here in that example, be more relaxed and in peace, seems like a very important goal for that person. So it's connected to the core values. However, it doesn't feel natural and easy to follow it, to pursue it, and it's also not really worked on. So and by that, this person feels like I'm not really achieving that goal, like empty bars here. So here we would really need to really understand what can we do so that it makes that it maybe feels easier and more natural to work on that goal, and how can we implement small steps that this person, if this goal is after also reconsideration still being seen as valuable, how can we make small steps towards achieving also that goal? And then we ask that person also in general, to what degree are your actions based on your personal values, personal feeling, not on the specific level that we have measured here. And I think here it's quite well represented somewhere in the middle. Some things seem like I'm achieving it a bit, but for the most things, it looks like I'm rather not achieving it. So it's even lower than the middle. So I think it's very well represented that this person is not really getting from the core values to achieving really the goals that this person has. And then you also have the information about the visualization, how it can be understood. So everything what I just explained, just very basic. So you get much more knowledge with the explanations here. And with that, the end part comes, the references, and it's really just a glimpse into the references that we use. I really hope that this video was helpful for you, and that you especially found out how to get the most out of the core values finder results for your specific target group. And if you have any specific questions, feel free to reach out directly to us. And we are also super happy to connect you with the great coaches, psychotherapists, university professors, and teachers, and people with similar professions that we have already in our network that face similar challenges that you, that integrated the core values finder already into their lives and into their work. Be bold and stay true.